Hi, and welcome to Syrup Shots Gaming. I'm Tyler, and this week with me is Coach.
Hi, everybody. How's it going?
Can I still call you Coach? I mean, I know the season's over.
I suppose so. We're actually being the school board. We're going to the school board yet again, but this time they actually want to honor the students, and apparently they're having a plaque made with their names on it out of wood to be put up because they still want to make this esports lounge area, and they want to have it be a joint thing where it is being used by esports, the robotics team, as well as the hobby club. So that'll be nice. But at the same time, so we're going to honor the boys for the good job that they did this season. But at the same time, we're also going to then push for playing all 6 games that the Play Versus system offers, which is Rocket League, Super Smash Brothers, FIFA, Madden, Smite, and League of Legends.
Now, would you need to get switches, like at least a few switches for the school then?
Yes, we do have some, not a lot, but we have some leftover funds from Hobby Club that I could probably put towards getting a Switch for the club, but I would need to find a way to make up for it because I think it's only like $160. So I would need to make up the other 90 some other way. But I think the hard part now actually would be finding Switches, though, because it seems that the handheld Switch Lites are easier to find right now, but the ever since quarantine started, the actual normal Switch model has actually become harder and harder to find unless you go on eBay and want to pay a scalper's notorious price. However, I do start seeing a light at the end of the tunnel because I had been thinking about it, and sure enough, as I was at my trip to Walmart for groceries, I always check out the toy and electronics section because habit. But as I was there, they had a regular, just the plain black-gray Switch. Also, they had 2 Xbox Series S's in stock there. And my lizard brain immediately thought, Xbox Series. And then I immediately stopped and was like, Series S.
All
Don't
digital.
want that. Yes, all digital. But then my lizard brain started again and was like, damn the money. And I'm like, oh, well, hold on. Let's see what they're being sold for on eBay. On eBay, the Xbox Series S, you can tell, is the derp box version of the system. No one cares. So they are going for the price that they're supposed to. Maybe a little more, like $350 or something. But also at the same time, it's like free shipping. So it's like that $50 is mostly going to shipping. So that person is, let's see. Well, eBay will take their 10% cut, basically, and then the shipping, they're breaking even. And then some that people, what they'll do is they will put up something at such a low price to lure you in that some of them were even going for like $200, $230. So people are losing money on Xbox Series S. So I gotta wonder how well, and for some people, maybe that is the best option for them. They like having digital. I still say some people who are always like, I see it online. Oh, it's such a hassle to get up and change and switch out discs. It's just, how lazy are you?
I feel attacked right now.
Yeah. So there's that, and I just thought it was so cool that maybe we are starting to see a light in that some consoles will finally be able to be on store shelves, but I still hear that the PS5s, though, are still exceptionally rare and hard to find. Even I know G4 is coming back in some fashion, so they've been doing YouTube videos a lot more recently. which is great because it's so nice to see some of those folks back. So Adam Sessler did a whole video on why the PS5 is so hard to find right now, and like the reasons behind it, and, like chip shortages.
That silicon shortage is really hard right now.
Yeah, just trying to get consoles and even graphics chips is really hard right now. So I don't know. I don't know. I didn't watch the video full per se because I have a PS5, so it's like, well, I lucked out. So, but at the same time, though, I wonder, is it because factories are at decreased productivity because they can't have that many people on the line at the time? But I just don't know.
So I know part of it is slowdown from COVID. But the bigger thing is there's a slowdown from COVID for the silicon chips.
Okay.
That has been the big thing that is slowing everything down. That there's a massive shortage because they use that in everything. So they literally just aren't getting enough raw materials to make what they need to make as fast as they need to make it.
So are they having trouble getting silicon, or?
Yeah, let me see if I can find an article that goes into the fine details of that here.
I gotcha. You would think that some electronics recyclers would be jumping all over this, but then again, can you recycle silicon? I don't know.
No, I'm sorry, it's semiconductors.
Semiconductors, oh.
Yeah, there's a global shortage on semiconductors, so it's impacting. That's part of the reason why you're not seeing as many switches either.
I gotcha. All right. That makes sense. Okay. So, who knows? Probably when things get back to normal, things will start picking up the pace. But again, it's always been hard to get a console near launch in that first year because everyone's being rabid about it and trying to attack it. And with the advent of the internet, it's gotten even worse because you have people who specifically buy to resell. And on the one hand, it's kind of scummy, but if you can play the scalpers at their own game, sometimes you can get a deal, which I have done before, but it's not often. So, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But we got off topic there, but yes, we are looking at getting a couple switches for the school. We're also going to try and get some computers specifically for playing games, gaming. And at the same time, they don't want the kids to bring in their own stuff to play if it's going to be a school-sponsored bit. But the problem is, anytime you bring up money to a school board, people's lips start getting tighter because of the purse strings. So, and some things it's easier, some things it's not, and we'll just have to see if we could maybe group a couple clubs together like we plan to do. Yeah, it would probably be easier to make the argument to get the technology and stuff for that. But the problem also then is upkeep on that technology, because as technology goes right now, it is, snap your fingers and then, you instantly have a new upgrade.
Yeah.
So we'll just see.
$1 million question. So say you get approved. You're going to have a team that does Smash Brothers. What controller do you have them use?
Well, I probably would have them use of their personal preference. That might be the only thing, though, that if you have a specific controller option that the school maybe doesn't provide for you, well, you might have to provide that yourself. Because it's one thing to say, okay, you need to bring in your Switch to school. If that goes missing, that's an issue, and that's a cost incurred by the school possibly. But if a controller goes missing or something of that nature, that while that's kind of scummy and kind of crappy, but nowhere near as bad as losing your entire game console at the same time.
Yet schools have students bring their multiple $100 instruments every day.
That's true, but at the same time, that's a lot harder to try and sneak out of a room, except for maybe a violin or a viola.
Right.
Yeah, or a flute.
How would you sneak that out, Dave? How would you sneak that out?
A flute? Don't you? Isn't that one you can actually break apart and collapse down, and its case is like this little
I was trying to go for a dirty joke, but you dropped the ball. You dropped the ball, Dave.
I thought you were going for an American Pie reference, actually, but I wasn't going to bite on that.
I forgot about that movie. Oh, Allison Hannigan.
So did the rest of the world.
It's true. So let's kind of transition here and talk about what we've been playing. I've got one I want to talk about a little bit here.
Yeah, sure.
Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis.
Okay.
That game is purty.
Okay.
That is so. Me and you and a couple of the guys, we started playing PSO 2 last year.
Mm-hmm. Haven't played it much recently, but yeah.
Well, honestly, I can't go back now because PSO 2 is the same type of interface, like except it's a cleaner menu system, much cleaner menu system. But it's open world. So instead of like going in for a mission, it's just open world where you can just start exploring. And you can get missions to tell you to go to places. But it's much smoother, much faster, more visceral combat. Everyone gets a glide, which is pretty cool.
It's interesting that they didn't just name it Phantasy Star Online 3.
I have actually heard reasons on why. There is such a fan base overseas for PSO2 that they didn't want to lose that fan base. So they've made it where it's tangentially connected because you can have the same character in both games. Not all the equipment or stats transfer over, but the character you created transfers over.
Oh, I gotcha.
So it kind of creates that synergy. So that way they can just add on to that user base that they already have. And trust me, this is PSO3. This is 100% PSO3.
I gotcha. Because we here in America, we didn't have Phantasy Star Online 2 as long as the Asian countries did.
No, we got it like 8 years late.
Yeah. I know Doug had been fussing about that for quite a while, but he was a huge fan of the original Phantasy Star Online, although we have to use online in air quotes because he was more used to playing it on the GameCube and getting a group of him and 3 other friends to play together. So, which is still nice. You can still do that. But any other Phantasy Star Onlines, I don't really think the original is around and online per se.
Right. I'm sure there's systems like, like that Slippy or different online servers.
Yeah, there's probably definitely like a private server. Heck, there's even... I would love to be able to try this, but at the same time... with all of the headache that I would need to do to try this, but I would love to try and play I would love to be able to play Resident Evil Outbreak online, the original PlayStation 2 games. And apparently there is a group who made a private server. However, they only ever managed to get the Japanese version of the game to work. So I would have to either... get a PC that could play emulation, which I have never been a huge fan of. I only really dabble in emulation when a game is in like a gray area where I literally can't play it. And I mean by that, it's not that sometimes there's games though where it's like a matter of money. If that's a matter of money, then I'm usually like, well, I don't get to play that game. However, there's other, though, where if it's like an arcade game, though, and the only way to play it is to be physically present at an arcade, and the company has since abandoned the IP, then I usually in that gray area will be like, okay, that's fine. So That's why I have a little Super Retrocade over attached to the TV, which was endorsed by Capcom and had a number of other company game libraries on it. But it also was very interesting in that it had a slot on the back for an SD card, and I was literally able to load it up just a couple of arcade emulators for games that they don't make anymore and probably never will. And I was able to play the Capcom Aliens vs. Predator.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Oh, that game is crazy.
So that leads me to an interesting question. What's your take then on ROM hack games? So I'm thinking like people who take like the Pokemon games, but completely rework it to it's a brand new story, brand new setting, mix up where Pokemon are at, etc. What's your take on those type of games?
Personally, on the one hand, I can understand a company wanting to defend their copyright when it comes to things like that. I can absolutely. But on the other hand, though, there is free use for artists and things of that nature because I am an artist. So I have a feeling, though, that if it doesn't involve any actual tangible money, like they're not trying to sell this as a game, but it's purely like a labor of love, then I usually don't care. They're not for me personally. I would rather, well, most of the time, rather have the product that the company makes. But there also have been times, though, where the company also has to take a look at what some of these games have done and just be like, okay, you do it. Sonic Mania being a clear-cut example. And then in some cases, I feel Nintendo has done this a little. I'm giving them like a smidgen of credit. But they have those NES and SNES classics that you can get for having the Nintendo Online service. But they also have those special remix ones. Wouldn't those be in that category?
I would say so, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I feel that they've taken a note from this and kind of taken a page and decided, oh, we can play around with stuff like that too. But I wish they would be a little more creative at times with such like it. And some games also, I don't know how it, and I don't know how much it takes to localize a game. And I know that humor is different worldwide. And so there is times where you have to change the context of things to have it, the essence of what it was trying to do makes sense. But there's also some games that's just like, look, you have been sitting on this and there is a rabid fan base. And why don't you just do it in some cases? Like Mother 3 or Earthbound 2, as we would call it here in the States.
I mean, they released Earthbound Origins finally.
I know, and what's even funnier, that game had been translated and was slated to be released on the NES. But the issue is that the game is a bit more complex, and much like Earthbound for the Super Nintendo, they thought that they were going to have to release it with about an 80-page manual and guide to help you out with it. And it was right at the end of the NES's life cycle in America when they were going to do this, and so they just add on it, and it just made no sense. It made a little sense, but when they started finally having all of the digital downloads and stuff like that, it took them till what, the Wii U came out? Was that what it came out on? It's just
so there's nothing current you can get it on either.
Yeah. So luckily I downloaded that. I've downloaded a couple other games that never quite made it to the States. And for some strange reason, Nintendo also decided to do those as the Nintendo Vault. So I was able to get Fire Emblem, the original, downloaded onto my Switch. But that was another game, though, that I don't know if that, however, was translated to begin with. So maybe it goes a bit quicker when you're dealing with 8-bit dialogue.
Yeah. Oh, Nintendo. Don't do the Disney Vault.
Please just stop.
Do the Disney Plus and just have everything streamable.
Well, there are some things, though, that Disney does not want to come out of the vault. Like that time we watched Song of the South on Bad Movie Night. Oh, good God.
Yeah, some things... That one hurt.
Yeah. Some things are better left dead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What have you been playing?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just about to say. Well, I am 1 week away from summer break, and
Woo-hoo!
I turned on all of my grades already. So grading is done. So, but the students have 1 more week of school left. However, I imagine my attendance for next week is going to be abysmal. And also, seniors get out a week earlier of school to prepare for graduation, stuff like that. And that's this week. I have a couple classes where it is only seniors. So I am not going to be seeing anybody those hours. So actually, first thing tomorrow morning and Tuesday morning, no students for that whole first hour. But because I knew this was going to happen, I just said, okay, so for this last week, what we're going to do is I'm going to give each class a kind of a cleanup chore to do in the art, because we did have students here this last semester. So naturally, an art room turns into a pit after a while. So it's going to be one group is going to clean up all of my tapes. One group is going to help me stow things on the art cart to take back to the art closet. One's going to clean up my sink. One's going to do this counter, blah, 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 blah. But because of that, that is my plan for this week. I don't have any lessons because I'm not starting anything new because grades are done. This is just the end. So I'm just sitting here and like, I have a ton of free time today. Because usually I always leave Friday and Saturdays for myself. I followed that through ever since college. So Friday and Saturdays will be the stuff where I do fun stuff or go hang out with family, friend gatherings. But so Sunday is usually the day, though, we're all hunkered down. It's like, okay, we need to figure out the plan for the week. But so this weekend, though, I plugged in Devil May Cry 5 yesterday and ended up finishing it. And I really enjoyed it. It's really kind of wrapping things up kind of nicely with the series. And not too spoilery, but they're clearly setting up, I think, for the character they introduced in 4, Nero, to be the new main protagonist, and for Dante to start taking a very, very backseat role to the series. And I do think this is getting to the point that's probably better because Nero is only just now coming into his abilities in terms of the plot, where Dante has been getting more and more and more overpowered. And they don't ever like take anything away. The only thing they take away from him between games is the weapons he's earned, like the special weapons. So like when you defeat a really powerful demon or monster, usually they get transformed into a weapon. So that's the only thing that usually disappears from game to game. So, but like his ability to transform, his moves and such like that, those all stay. So I beat that, really enjoyed it. Actually, I did much better in it than I thought I was going to do. And it was so funny. I was able to get through probably about 90% of the game without having to continue. But then in that final boss fight, good Lord, they upped the difficulty on that. So I had to like continue 3 times in one fight. Ooh. But what's nice though is, unlike previous games where you have to have gold orbs to continue, and they are like almost like a currency, and they're hard to get. In 5, it's much easier to get them. So usually you would have to spend a ton of the in-game currency to get them, but you can find them while playing, you can buy them, and then there are several times in the story where one character's actions will, you'll come across them as another character. So, like maybe a section you've previously played, you'll see with one character, you'll play the next part of the story and see the other character's eyewitnessing events, but you might see the player that you just played off in the distance. But what's cool is it will record your gameplay footage from that encounter, and it'll like send it out into the PlayStation Network, so another person gets to see your gameplay in the background while they're doing the other character play. And then as you go on in the level after you beat it, it'll ask you, so how did you think like Super Yoshi was? I think that was literally a character, someone's username. Super was, and everyone just ever says they were stylish. And if that happens, you automatically get a gold orb when you log back in, and you get one every day that you log in too. So it is really easy to get those things. So at the final boss fight, I had 25.
Making it nice and easy to do the restart.
Yeah. I still ended up only using like 3, but still, it's like, God, nothing in the game so far has prepared me for this nonsense. So that was Saturday, though, and so I finished that up, and then just the rest of the day watch TV, such like that. But then today starts up, and I'm like, I can play a game today. Yay! So I ended up plugging in the Resident Evil 2 remake, which I had not played just yet. And I've decided, though, that I am going to hold off on Resident Evil 8. I still say, I don't know why, but for some reason I prefer to play those games on either Nintendo, because from back in the day when it was GameCube exclusives, and Xbox. And I think the Xbox reason is because when they had the co-op games, 5 and 6, it was so easy to console link with my brother with a LAN cable that it just became my preferred way to play. And also, when it was 5 and 6 on 360, the PS3 controller for shooters sucked.
I don't think that's changed with the PS4 controller.
It's better. It's certainly much better with the PlayStation 5 controller, but Xbox controllers are basically old reliable for shooters for me. So I think I'll try and get a Series X at some point, maybe over the summer, possibly. I don't know. I'm trying to get a dog too, so that might be put on the back burner. Exactly. I'll probably wait until like the Game of the Year edition, though, because I also have the Resident Evil remake as well. Nice. But I'm really enjoying that. And earlier I was messaging Doug, who I think we've mentioned before on the podcast. He is getting his doctorate in musical composition at Stanford. And it's in like electrical acoustics. I can't even begin to try and describe it.
Creepy sound music.
Yes, he is very good at. I think he basically wants to be the next Mick Gordon, who was the composer for Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. And but he's really good at making like sounds from devices that he's made and using those in composition. But since he's the sound expert, I thought I had recalled him saying that I should play Resident Evil 2 with headphones on. And so I messaged him, and did I play Resident Evil 2 with headphones on? And he messages me back very quickly later. He's like, yes, and here are your settings. And so he starts going through, you need to set it to this, and you need to set it for a headphone setting. And I can't even pronounce this word. It's like
Binaural.
Binaural. We'll go with that. And initially, I tried that, and it wasn't working too well. And he just, okay, restart the game. It might have been a situation where the game didn't like it. Tried to do that like 15 minutes into it, as opposed to right from the beginning. Okay, so I log back out, get in, and then it works. It is amazing. So I have my headphones on, and all the settings start working, and I start up gameplay. And then I noticed there's like creaking and footstep noises behind me. And I'm like, I am home alone. What the? And I turn around real quickly and I'm like, oh, wait, it's the headphones. So the sound effects now in the game are basically working in 3D around my head through the headphones. And it is so freaking unsettling at times. And what's even worse is that it does it while you are a pause menu or looking at the map, and so you'll hear like a creak noise, and it's like, what?
I had that. Sorry, go ahead.
Because in my house, there's no pets or anything, so I'm like, oh, it's ghosts. Okay. Or it's the house settling, but mostly it's ghosts, probably. But, and then what's even better is you'll be walking and you'll hear the zombie. You don't see him. And right before I logged off today, I got to the kennel of the Raccoon City Police Department, and you can hear the zombie dogs growling at you.
Nice.
And it's like, I can hear you, but where are you?
I love that audio setting. I used that when I played Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, and just hearing her, multi voices coming at you from every angle.
That was cool. I did play it that way too, but I don't know if I have the settings quite like I did for this. But then again, actually, PS4 probably could do that. I just Doug wasn't around for me to go like, hey,
how do I set this up?
How do I set this up exactly? Because I get visuals just fine. I understand those because that's what I studied. But when it comes to sound, it's just like, oh, sound is soundy. Yay.
Well, Resident Evil 2 is one I'm going to have to play as well at some point. I rented it at one point, kind of liked it, but I need to give it another go.
And what's nice is I'm not playing with a guide. I kind of just was like, let's go in blind. I beat the original with Doug years ago, and it was just a remake of... It was the GameCube release of the Dreamcast remaster. It wasn't even a remake. It just... we made it a little more polished from PlayStation graphics to Dreamcast graphics, which wasn't much of an upgrade, considering some of the games that Dreamcast did have.
Right.
And it is the same, but at the exact same time, it is absolutely not. It is... it is just so... It is so familiar and nostalgic, while at the same time being something completely its own. And it's amazing to see how they have reinterpreted these characters from being basically an attempt at... It was pretty much anime how they illustrated them in the instruction manuals, right, and for print media, and then for now they are literally scanning in the faces of actors and actresses, and even then they can decide. And they did this with Devil May Cry 5 as well. I guess Capcom thing and a NetherRealm Studios thing. So. But they are literally scanning in people's likenesses into the game. And then they can also be like, we don't care for your actual voice, though, so we're going to use this person's voice.
Nice.
I had a student this past year, last year actually, he is a big Mortal Kombat fan, and he did a big picture of the actress who plays Kitana. And he about flipped when he posted his project on Twitter and she responded.
Nice.
Yeah. And it was funny because I'm just sitting there like, so Ask her how she feels about seeing herself getting like dismembered and chopped apart on screen. You can't ask her that, Mr. Oh, bleep my last name.
Will do.
Thank you.
Tomorrow is
but
editing
it was
day.
funny. That's always cool when that happens. When
yeah. I mean, I remember when we went to Galloping Ghosts in Chicago.
Oh,
and I tweeted.
Tweet.
Yep. Cherished memory.
Yeah, that's why I stay off of like Twitter. But I think for me, the moment I had that happen was I sent in a question to a podcast and they answered it on air. It's like, yay! I matter.
So, Dave, I want to kind of switch gears a little bit here, and I want to talk about something that's been going on that I don't fully get. So, me and you have done console launches in the past, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Now, those are for the hot new ticket item, right? We did it for the Wii, other consoles.
Xbox 360.
Yeah.
We did it for the Wii U. That was a mistake.
We've done it for games, too, like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Or, not Ultimate. Yes, and Brawl.
Yeah, we did Brawl.
That's right.
Oh, Brawl was probably the best one, though, because we did it at the local Blockbuster, and they finally just let us have it like 15 minutes early, and as we're leaving, our friend Joel is just like, they were probably just getting sick of us looking at all the movies. Huh, look, I found the Evil Bong 3. Bet it sucks.
So,
which, yes, we were doing.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But in any of those launches, was there violence?
No, there was never violence.
Did anyone ever have a gun pulled on them or like threatened in the parking lot?
No, I may have wanted to say choice words and a couple situations at them, but it was never so like at the Xbox 360 launch, they had, as you remember, the first launch consoles, there was the deluxe package and the base package. Mm-hmm. Basic difference, the base didn't come with the hard drive, which you needed. So they had 5, I think, base units, and 5 deluxe, and all the rest were base. And so I sit down, and I'm just like, I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm 5. An hour in, one person literally then just like wakes up, but she had fallen asleep like inside of a rack of clothing. So I could not see her. And so then it was just like bing, and then she rolled up, and then it was just like, who the hell are you? And then everybody was just like, we're sorry, dude. She actually was here. I'm just, I will freaking stab you. But then luckily, so I'm calling Dad, and because he was trying to get this for me as a Christmas gift, but he didn't want to lay it in line. So he's like, look, I'll wait in line. You wait in line, I'll pay for it. But I call him and tell him what happened, and then come to find out, he walks by and went to Target, I think, and he just says, hey, I thought I'd call you, buddy, because maybe I could help you out here. They can't sell me the console, but for some reason, they got a bunch of games and other controllers and stuff out here ready for sale, but they can't sell the console. They can sell that, though. Is there anything you need? And I'm like, I need a hard. And these are the games I wanted. And he goes, okay, I got a hard drive here then for you, and I even got you the collector's edition. Yay!
All's well that ends well.
Yeah, so that worked out, but at the same time, it's just like for about a roughly 1 hour period, I was trying to get like just a Walmart worker who knew what was going on to actually talk to me. And, you know, do you guys have this? Do you guys have this? Oh, I'll have to ask my manager. Sorry,
but again,
that was something completely different.
No.
But no, I never pulled a gun on anybody. Said, "Who the hell are you?"
people are pulling guns. They are robbing people as they go to their cars. They are getting into fisticuffs over Pokemon cards.
What? Oh my god! Pulling gun? Really?
Yeah. So literally,
Wow.
well, here's what happened. There was a Target where someone bought Pokemon cards, was going to his car. People tried to rob him. He pulled his gun for personal protection.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So let's talk for a moment.
Wow, that is. On the one hand, really, I don't think anyone is in the right here necessarily in this situation. I mean, were they trying to rob him with other guns or knives or anything? Or
I think they were just trying to. There was like 3 or 4 of them and one of him.
oh, okay. I was like, yeah, we'll beat you up. Better call an ambulance, but not for
So yeah, evidently there's a shortage.
Cards.
Pokemon card. All right, I have a challenge for you, Dave. Next time you go.
How much of a okay? I love video games, but how much of a loser do you have to be that you're willing to fight or threaten death for them? That is a level of not worth it. That is so beyond.
So, to answer your question, it's not for the cards. These aren't real collectors that are trying to get these. This is their Bitcoin. This is their stock market.
Gotcha.
This is their stonks. There is a Pikachu Gigamax card that is in current thing where you could potentially get it going for over $400.
Oh, geez.
Because I looked into this a little bit, and Pokemon cards have changed a lot since we've gotten them, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest change is there are now, you can have one number of a card, but it can have different artwork. Or you can have where one is like the hidden one, where it's ultra rare.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Or
I'm kind of glad I only have base set, jungle, and fossil.
Right.
They could have some Team Rocket.
They could have shinies.
Wow.
So people are going bananas over this. So I've got an article up from IGN I'd like to read for a second here, okay?
Okay.
Now, mind you, this has already been edited. Walmart did not stop selling them. This was and they did edit this, but
okay.
U.S. retailers Walmart and Target have suspended in-store sales of Pokemon cards and other trading cards due to safety concerns caused by a huge upsurge in demand. As reported by Bleeding Cool, a sign spotted by a customer in New York notes that Target will no longer sell MLB, NFL, NBA, and Pokemon trading cards as of May 14th.
Wow.
To ensure the safety of our guests and team members. It's clear that the renewed interest in the scene is having a negative effect on in-store conduct amid an uptick in scalping.
Wow. I gotta wonder, though, is part of this also COVID because some people are just hurting for cash that much?
Yes, and there is a shortage on Pokemon cards because of production slowdowns because of COVID.
I got you.
So, yeah, here's what the interesting is to me, though, is this actually kind of has got me re-interested in Pokemon cards. Not to go out and buy them.
Yeah.
There's a free app where you can buy cards and decks to play for free.
I get it. The only interest I've had in Pokemon cards recently is I found a Japan-only art book at an anime convention about 5 years ago that was just the artwork of the cards. And I'm just like, nice. That is right up my alley.
Oh, that's 100% right.
Gladly buy that. Yeah.
So to kind of answer your question, Dave, on why there's such this uptick, the article follows. Trading cards have seen a massive boom over the past year. There's been a surge of renewed interest as rare pack openings and trading card content has flooded onto YouTube and Twitch. In January of this year, a Pokemon trading card booster box sold at auction for $408,000.
Wow.
And McDonald's also had to strongly encourage its stores not to sell multiple packs of Pokemon's 25th anniversary cards to customers in February to prevent scalping.
Remember that? We talked about that a couple months back.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Now, has this been multiple incidents, or has it just been one incident that was so bad they decided to nip it in the bud?
So you've had like tussles and whatnot. This was the first one with a gun.
Okay.
But following up today, there's a new article on Kotaku. The continued shortage of Pokemon cards fueled by the pandemic, Twitch streamers, and scalpers led to a chaotic situation at a Walmart in Pennsylvania. The moment the store opened, folks began to run to the section of the store where trading cards are sold, leading to chaos and one sad sight. In a video captured by Instagram user TCG_Grassi and shared by Twitter user BigCards30, around a dozen or more people can be seen rushing through the entrance of Walmart the moment the doors were unlocked at 7 a.m. They were there to buy up the newly stocked Pokemon cards. TCG_Grassi told Kotaku that this mad rush of people isn't normally how these things go down. They blame the wild rush on a few folks who began running, leading to more folks running in the eventual Pokemon stampede seen in the video.
Gotcha. I wonder how this is gonna be how it is for me for the 4 amiibo I haven't been able to recently pre-order.
Which amiibo were those?
The Monster Hunter Stories 2 amiibo and the new Zelda and Loftwing amiibo. I haven't been able to nail down. But what's even crazier, I guess amiibos that are the new ones that released during the pandemic, well, those have been harder to find. And so those Monster Hunter ones I was able to get, the price for those is going about $50 a piece for those online right now. And I'm just like, I currently have all except 2 that were physical figures. And those were the 2 I'm missing are the Sky Amiibo Dark versions. So we'll see. I still love collecting them. They're great little figures, and I love, especially in Breath of the Wild, I loved scanning all the Zelda ones in to get just like a ton of free goodies in that game.
Right.
But I will say, that is nuts, though. I mean, pulling a gun, geez, stampeding. Wow. Yep. And I know this behavior has been around for a while. There are literally people who, especially when I worked at Toys R Us, that literally come in, buy up all the new thing, and then resell it online. And it's become worse since the advent of eBay and such like that. In some regards, those websites are still very much the Wild West, where I think we probably wouldn't be having this giant, massive push for digital sales of gaming-related items if there was like a 60-day moratorium on selling a used copy of a game. Mm-hmm. So, if, for example, I think the Cory Barlog, the director of God of War, he said that's kind of what he wished. He doesn't want to see used games go away, but the problem you have is that you have a person who goes out, buys it immediately, beats it that weekend because that's all they do, and then immediately turns back in and trades it in. GameStop sells it then for $5 less, and the game company then sees no profit from that sale. And on the one hand, that is part of GameStop's, scummy business practices, because unfortunately for a while they did kind of suffer because they really shot themselves in the foot. They were, again, so focused on the short term rather than the long term. Well, that could be said about a lot of places in
that is true.
Business. But again, it's just, you get so sick of seeing these scalpers come in. They buy up all the copies of the game. We had people trying to do it at Toys R Us with Skyrim when it launched. Because I remember I worked the 2011 holiday season there. I worked there for probably about 4 months because they start early, pretty much at the end of August. That's when they start hiring because people start, especially older folks, they start buying Christmas presents earlier. But yeah, they were coming in, they were buying up Skylanders because that was released that year too, and trying to scalp those. Luckily, that was one though that it hadn't hurt them just yet, but they were flooding the market with them, which is why we don't have Skylanders anymore.
Right.
Yeah. But at the time, though, there were some things we just couldn't keep on shelves. But it's weird, though. I guess, if you are able to kind of hook it in, and do that, yeah, you could probably make a pretty penny, but still.
I was gonna say, so I'm actually looking at like average prices for Amiibo going right now. It's insane, Dave. A loose Duck Hunt, $36.
That's about what, 3 times the retail of it originally. Well, that's if you bought an individual.
In box, Callie and Marie 2-pack, $150.
That sounds about right. I was lucky. Well, no, I wasn't lucky. I had to buy. I came to visit you, and you're like, "Well, Dave, we gone to the GameStop in town. They had a ton of them." And I'm like, "Well, thanks. I already spent $40." Hold on, let me check, Mr. Because I am still debating whether I want to buy 4 Mr. Game & Watch Amiibos and use one. Nope, he's $46 now.
Let's see here. A loose Cloud Player 2, $63.
I gotcha. Yep,
it's insane. It's absolutely insane. I'm not selling my Smash Bros. Collection. That Smash Bros. Collection is going to be with me for a long time.
I'm going to bury you with it.
I will leave it to my children and my children's children.
I gotcha.
You're my favorite child. You get Link. You're my least favorite child. You get Ice Climbers.
Oh, poor Ice Climbers.
Actually, that's probably not going to be the worst. Oh, you're my least favorite child. You get all the Fire Emblem characters.
Well, there went like a very loud minority of our fans.
I love Fire Emblem, but there are too many Fire Emblem characters that play too similarly.
They were getting pretty ridiculous with that, and it's just like, oh, Fire Emblem's popular. Put in more Fire Emblem! Oh, so speaking of minorities of our listeners, and I promise there is a good segue to this. Remember how on the last podcast you were talking about how, what was it, a 2.5% of people found our podcast by searching swingers?
Yep.
So, that place that I told you guys about, that nail salon bar hybrid that is a front for a swingers club, was raided by the police for cocaine and human trafficking. Oh my God. Oh, wow. So it's real. Oh. It's like they saw the TV show Claws and thought, good idea.
Now, this was where Shenanigans used to be, right?
Yes. Yes, it is. So, yes, we ate wings at this place years ago. Now it's an even worse hive of scum and villainy.
Oh. And I thought Thirsty Thursdays were bad.
Oh, well.
I mean, the other people were thirsty, but just in different ways.
Yeah, Thirsty Thursdays was what our school unofficially called Thursday evenings, because we had several college students who would schedule their classes so they wouldn't have class on Friday, so they had a 3-day weekend every week.
So, fun story about that, real fast here. Kind of a segue here. I've started a new job this week for my main job.
Mm-hmm.
I won't go into where I work, but I will say it's remote and evidently approved by HR. We have a weekly meeting every Thursday where we all take shots together.
Wow. You can't do that at my job. For
No.
Sure. we do make jokes about it on occasion, but we never partake.
All I know is I got to get something better because I can't do it with Rumplemans again.
Do it with gin like we used to do.
Yep.
That'll clear the sinuses as well as a few other things.
It's true. But Dave, we're about an hour here.
Yeah. This was a not so mini episode. Yeah.
Yep.
We're trying to cut it down when it's just the two of us to maybe being more around like 45 minutes or an hour.
Just the two of us.
Yep.
We can make it if we try.
Do you want us to get copyright? Well, with that singing, they probably.
They'll pay me to stop.
Our first sponsor, Sony Music Corporation. Please stop.
Please. Do we break any? No, you just no.
Yeah. So our topic this week was basically the Pokemon card crisis. And what's even funnier though is this is not the first time something stupid like this has happened with gaming. And in the sense of maybe like a scalper situation, that's become more common over the years. But stupid stuff in gaming, like having guns pulled on you, unfortunately, it's not new.
It goes together like bread and butter.
Yeah, like back in the day, if a kid was really good at beating Mortal Kombat in the arcade, it wasn't uncommon though that you might get beat up outside in real life beating someone in a game. Like I had read an article about a couple kids in Chicago where the kid beat the other player so bad in the game, and then apparently did like a nice pop-off celebration for that. The other guy and his buddies got pretty quiet, and then later when they were leaving the mall, they ended up taking one of the kid's fingers with them.
Holy
shit. Yeah, they're Yakuza back in the day. 90s Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
And it's just like, good God, what is wrong with some people?
I'm just thinking about like the people who will wait in line for a console launch, get the console, go to the line that everyone's waiting for, and just slam it and break it on the ground.
Why? On the one hand, to show you that you're just that wealthy? No, you don't look wealthy. You just look like an idiot.
An idiot who has upset a lot of people who don't have that console. You could have just given it to me. I would have given it to get home. Cared for it.
Be thankful those people in line didn't have guns. Good gosh.
Yeah, right. It was like when someone spoiled Harry Potter for the last book, or the second to last book.
Oh, jeez.
Do you remember that?
I don't.
So someone had gotten a hold of the second to last Harry Potter book, went to this giant store where people were in line to buy the book, and just yelled out, "Da-da-da dies on page da-da-da." Yelled who the major character spoiler of who died and what page they died on.
Okay.
To all these people who are waiting to get the frickin' book. Why would you do that?
On the one hand, though, I did take great solace in the fact that there was one video that I saw in my young childhood that gave me hope for the nerds in line for people who do that. So now I will say though, this nerd was actually very different than any I had seen. He was very physically fit. He was, he looked like the brawny guy on the cover of the paper towels.
We call them lumbersexuals.
Yeah, he looked like that. And so he was so excited for Star Wars. I think episode 3. I think it was episode 3 coming in. You know, and I know some people were like, you know, making fun of him, and he's like, you know, yeah, the other 2 are, but hey, this is the one where he becomes Darth Vader. I at least can take some solace that that's going to be cool. And he brought his mom with him, but then this group of Hot Topic rejects comes walking by and basically just start picking on him and ripping him a new one. And he's trying to be as kind as possible, and you know, because he's with his mom. And he's like, he finally is just like, hey guys, could you stop? You know, I'm here with my mom. You know, she doesn't need to hear this crap. And they just keep doing it. And finally, he just has enough, and just like one of them basically, I think, tried to spit on him. And that's when he turned into Colossus from the X-Men and just laid this kid out with one hit. Just pow.
One Punch Man.
One Punch Man. And so his 2 skinny jean friends pick him up and start walking away. And then you hear it from the back of the line. Yeah, why don't you go back to Hot Top, you little bitch? Beautiful. Oh,
Chef
I would just
kiss.
That man deserves a medal. Defend your fandom.
Nice.
And not that there's anything wrong with skinny jeans or Hot Topic, but if that is your whole,
it's okay to shop there. It's not okay for that to be your personality.
yeah, exactly. It's like people who enjoy like recreational marijuana. Okay, it's okay to imbibe, but making it your personality,
yeah, not so great. Not so great.
Yeah, there's a reason that the stoner archetype is made fun of in movies constantly.
It's true. It's true.
True.
But everyone, until next time, be safe, be kind, bottoms up.